Hi friend, my name is Danielle Holleran and I am the host of the Detailed Diary podcast. I'm a self-made online business owner who loves sharing the behind the scenes of my business and inspiring others to follow their dreams. You can find me most days chasing my dog around, relaxing with my husband, and wearing basically anything Dusty Rose and Pearls. Think of this as your space to come to feel motivated and inspired to take on your biggest dreams, while also just chatting with your best friend. Cozy up for some girl time and get ready to feel uplifted and inspired. I'm so excited to announce that my very own podcasting platform, Zencastr, has become a new sponsor to the Detailed Diary podcast. You can check out my exclusive discount link in the show notes below this episode, and stay tuned to hear all about why I love using Zencastr for my podcast. Hello and welcome to the Detailed Diary podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Holleran, and today we're going to be talking about how to say no in your business without feeling guilty and really reframing your mindset when it comes to accepting projects and all different work that you may have going on in your business. I know that this is a topic that so many of us can relate to. Honestly, probably every single person listening who has a business has gone through this and probably is going through this. I don't think that this is something that we can ever fully overcome because I have talked to so many small business owners across all different industries, from A to Z, service to product base, who deal with this entire idea of feeling incredibly guilty by saying no or putting different restrictions and policies in place and having to abide by those policies, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm not going to get into like the psychology of like why we feel guilty saying no and all things like that, because that's just not my specialty. I'm sure someone could chat in depth on maybe like imposter syndrome and, all of the things that go along with running a small business and wanting to make everyone happy and things like that. I'm not really going to talk about the root cause of why this happens, but I'm going to talk about different things that you can do in your business and in your mindset to reframe saying no. And I am the first to speak that I am the biggest people pleaser in the entire world when it comes to my business and my life too. I want everyone to be happy all the time. I never want there to be a conflict. I'm an Enneagram 9. It's just like in my blood that I just want to please everyone and make everyone happy. So when it comes to my business, I feel like this is amplified times 10. And if I have overcome the guilt of saying no to an extent, I still deal with this definitely from time and time again. But if I've overcome this in many different areas of my business, I know for a fact that you can too. Especially starting off, this is something that I dealt with all the time. And I feel like this is a lot more prevalent when you are first starting your business, because a lot of times when you're first getting started, you don't have strict policies in place. You don't have strict procedures and systems in place on how you do things. So you're more likely to accept bookings and orders that are outside of the realm of maybe what you feel comfortable with or what you have in your mind that you want to do, because you don't really have those strict barriers set up in your business. And that's okay. I feel like this is just something that everyone goes through, especially starting off. I always recommend that if you are running a small business and you are getting started and you're trying to figure out kind of what direction you want to go in, I always suggest for you to take on anything that comes your way. I'm a big believer in saying yes at the beginning to gain experience and to try new things. So many of the different areas that I'm in my business now all started from diving into new areas that maybe a customer brought up to me for a custom request, or a client, a bride brought up to me for something they wanted at their wedding. So I just want to put that disclaimer in, because as I'm getting into talking throughout this episode and saying no to a lot of things, I don't want it to be misconstrued that at the start of your business, I recommend saying no to a lot of things, because I think it's part of the learning and growing experience to say yes to a lot and to try out a lot of new and different things. Maybe that push you out of your comfort zone a little bit, because that's how you grow. That's how you discover new things in your business. And a lot of times that's what's going to push your business forward. Now, with that being said, there are going to be times when you are saying yes, yes, yes to all of these new and exciting projects and new things and everything along those lines, where you reach a point and you sit back and think to yourself, shoot, why did I say yes to this? And this is just going to be something that happens with time and experience in trying out new things in your business and kind of seeing what sticks. For instance, when I first started Details and Swirls and I was in my season of saying yes to absolutely everything that came my way and trying to make it work and see what came of it, I had lots of requests for things that were outside of my realm of business and offerings, which again, I always wanted to test out and try just to dip my toes in and see if I discovered anything that I love. So an example of this was one of my rental brides also needed her envelopes addressed. Now, I had never done envelope addressing before. I had practiced, but I had never done it. I had never really planned to offer it as a service, but I thought it would be fun. So I decided, of course, why am I going to tell her no? That's definitely something I could do. So let me do her envelopes for her. Well, turns out it was a much larger undertaking than I anticipated. And I quickly learned that it was just something that I absolutely did not want to offer in my business. Now, with that being said, it was very difficult for me to say no to people who, after her, reached out to me for an envelope addressing service, even though I knew that this isn't really something that I love to do. This isn't really something that fits my brand and my business that I want to devote more time into moving forward. And honestly, it's really not worth the money, for me at least, because it used to take me so incredibly long to do these. I still had a very difficult time saying no. I probably took on at least up to 5 more clients for envelope calligraphy until I reached the point of like, oh my goodness, I cannot do this anymore. Like, absolutely not. Under no circumstances can I take on another client for this. I'm done. And I feel like for a lot of us in a lot of different areas of our business, we have to reach that point of either burnout or like extreme frustration to make that decision of, okay, I need to say no. I can't say yes anymore. And we really shouldn't have to let it get to that point. I've learned in my years of business that once I have that first experience, like I just explained with the envelopes, where I am doing something new or working with something different or, this, that, and the other thing, and something doesn't feel right, maybe I'll try it out one more time. And if the second time it's still just not it, I'm saying no to that from there on out. And it is very difficult to kind of put those boundaries in place, because obviously this is just going to depend on the industry that you're in, the service that you're offering, or the product that you're offering. But a lot of times, could you say yes to whatever the customer or client is asking? Of course you could, because you can do whatever the product or service is. You just may not want to, and that is okay. I really want to emphasize that this is your business. Yes, we are a client-facing business, a customer-serving business, but at the end of the day, this is your business that you are building from the ground up and molding to your brand, your desires, and your dreams. And if something doesn't align with that, you do not need to feel guilty about saying no. So the first kind of tip I want to give, I have like 3 general mindset shifts. And I know this was quite a long spiel of getting into my 3 points here, but the first tip I have is to try to shift your focus away from the scarcity mindset. And this is probably the most difficult thing to do when you're making the transition from first starting your business and trying a bunch of new things and saying yes, 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 to niching down your business and narrowing down your offerings to what suits best for your brand. I know I still have a difficult time with this. I just think as a small business owner, I don't know if these feelings will ever fully go away. But especially when you're first starting and you're saying yes to all of these new things, and then you start learning kind of what works, what doesn't, what you want to focus on, what you don't want to focus on, it's extremely difficult to say no to opportunities that come along that are kind of under the threshold of things that you don't really want to focus on anymore because of this scarcity mindset of, well, how can I say no to this? Like, this is business. This is money coming in. This is my paycheck. How am I just going to turn something down when in reality, I can do this. I may not want to. It may not push me in the direction of where I want to go, but I still can do it. And I don't want to turn down a sale. I don't want to turn down a booking. And that mindset kind of snowballs from there. And it never feels good to turn away someone for kind of like no good reason. It doesn't feel good to turn away money or bookings for not a concrete reason, like you're fully booked or you don't have the resources available to take on their order. It is extremely difficult, but you have to know that when you say no to this opportunity that you know in your heart that you don't want to do and it's not pushing you in the direction that you want to be in, that no is going to open up so much more time and energy to focus on the things that you do want to focus on and that you do want to push your business towards. Obviously, there is a give and take with this because I am not sitting here saying, oh my gosh, say no to absolutely anything you don't want to do and only say yes to the best of the best jobs and the best of the best orders. No, absolutely not, because at the end of the day, our business is our livelihood. We still need to make money and there needs to be a balance. But I don't want you to have to reach the point of burnout to begin feeling comfortable saying no when you feel like you can't take on the job or it's not good for you to take on the job. I've talked to a lot of other small business owners on this. If you want to hear a little bit more about burnout, I will leave Cassandra's episode linked in the description below from Camilla Creations. We talked all about burnout and kind of like learning how to say no and adjust our business and things like that, because it's very difficult to get away from this scarcity mindset, especially when you're new as a small business owner. I still consider myself new. I've only been running my business for 3 years. Like, it is very difficult to turn away business, but you have to at certain points to protect yourself from burnout and to push your business in the direction that you want to take it. So that is my first tip, to just try and shift your focus away from that scarcity mindset. Podcasting remotely can be so intimidating, but Zencastr has really allowed me to put all of my worries and challenges aside when it comes to podcast production with their all-in-one web-based solution. Zencastr is so easy to use, especially with guest interviews. I love how Zencastr uses local recording, and believe me, this comes in handy when I'm interviewing guests and have Luana barking on my line. I can easily edit my local recording without interfering with the guest audio. It is so clean and simple, and I also love how they have a secured cloud backup, so I know my audio is always safe. Zencastr seriously has everything covered with ease, with so many more incredible features. I want you to have the same easy experience as I do for all of my podcasting and content needs. So if you go to zencastr.com/pricing and enter promo code DETAILEDDIARY, you'll get 30% off your first 3 months. That's zencastr.com/pricing, promo code DETAILEDDIARY. Now, my second tip is to reframe saying no into looking at how it will benefit you in your life. And this is going to be our selfish segment here because, as I mentioned earlier, yes, we're a customer-facing business, client-facing business, but this is our business. We probably built our small business, one, because we want to do something we're passionate about, but two, because we want the flexibility of running our own business with what works for us in our life. So we want to try to create services and offerings in our business that benefit us and our life. So one example of this that I will be headed into my 4th year of wedding rentals this summer, which is crazy and wild to believe. And this past year, in 2021, I made a pact to myself that moving forward for 2023 bookings, so for my 5th year, I am not booking any weddings on the 4th of July weekend. I'm just not. It's a really special weekend for my family and our friends. We always have so much going on that weekend. In the past 3 years, I've missed out on a lot of things that growing up as a child, I always used to look forward to and create so many memories that I'm just blocking off that weekend from wedding rentals. Now I have wedding rentals booked for that weekend for this year. So I made this decision for the following year. So this is very far in advance, but this is something that isn't going to be extremely difficult when I have someone reach out for that weekend and I technically don't have anything on the books and I technically don't have a hardcore reason for saying no, like I'm booked or, I'm at my max threshold for weddings that weekend or anything like that. No, I don't. But do I know that when that weekend comes, I'm going to be so happy that I have a full weekend to spend with my family and friends doing all of the activities and looking forward to so many things that I wouldn't have been able to participate in if I was working? Yes. So these are the types of things that definitely come with time, and it's very difficult to put yourself first when it comes to business and money. Moving back to kind of the first step, because do you want to turn away business? No, but how important is your happiness and the things in your life that mean a lot to you? I've kind of used this mindset in a lot of different areas of my business where I've made changes and restrictions. And it is very important to think of yourself when it comes to running your business. And this will lead us into our 3rd point in just a little bit. But your business is only going to run as well as you are running mentally. If you are completely burned out and worn down, it's going to strip the passion from you. It's going to strip the creativity from you. And it's not going to be fun anymore. So when you are putting boundaries and restrictions in place for the betterment of yourself, for the betterment of your mental health, for the betterment of your schedule, whatever you need to do, be firm in sticking to those. I know it can be so hard, but I promise you that you are going to thank yourself so much in the future if you do stick true to those boundaries that you set. I know in the few times since I've put up some strict boundaries in my business around, rental systems and bookings and lots of other different areas, the times that I do slip in accepting bookings outside of the boundaries that I've set up for myself, whenever those bookings come to fruition, I'm 100% of the time kicking myself for them. 100% of the time. And every single time I look at Joey, my husband, and I'm like, oh, why did I say yes? I don't do this anymore. Why did I have that moment of weakness and say yes? Why didn't I just say no? And he always looks at me like, yeah, you just need to say no. So I understand it's difficult, but really, really, really try and think of your future self. In that situation, when you're responding to that email, think of your future self in the moment of doing whatever service, job, or order the client is reaching out about. and respond with your future self in mind, because you will thank you. Now, the third tip that I have for a mindset shift when it comes to creating boundaries in your business and sticking to boundaries in your business is reframing your mindset for how these changes are going to benefit your customers. And this is the main one that I like to focus on and the most important, because as I've mentioned, I know we just talked about like the selfish segment. We are very important, but our business is run by our clients and customers. They are the most important people. They are the ones funding our livelihood. So we need to ensure that they are getting the absolute best experience. So chances are, when you are setting up different systems in your business and boundaries, you are doing so to make your business run smoother. And with that, your customers are going to get a better experience. So when you are saying no to things that are outside of your boundaries and your system, it's in your realm of business, yes, you may feel guilty to that one specific customer saying no, but think about how much that decision of turning down whatever it may be will benefit so many more customers in the future. Now, I like to give examples for all of these because I've got lots of examples of how to say no, what I've changed in my business, turning down this, that, and the other thing, because I've made lots of changes over the years. And I keep bringing up rentals because, my goodness, I have made a complete 180 with my rental business and my offerings and what I accept now and what I don't accept. So, for instance, moving forward for 2022, so this year and every year now in the future, I'm only offering one rental package for my rental clients, and I eliminated all of my other offerings that I had. So there's one package available to book. It is delivery required by myself and my husband, and the whole 9 yards after that. Is it extremely difficult to turn down business for someone who reaches out who just wants to rent a welcome sign or just wants to rent this piece and pick it up from my house and drop it off later? Yes, of course. But do I know that me turning down those types of offerings that I no longer offer benefits my current clients and future clients so much? Yes, because now I have more time to focus on my future clients. I have more standardized systems and resources that are catered directly towards the package that I offer and the service that they're receiving. Do I know that now all of their pieces are going to be accounted for and intact and not damaged and things like that? I could go on and on and on with how these systems not only benefit me and my schedule, but really benefit my future clients. Now, I can also relate this to another side of my business with my custom wooden signs. I do not accept custom orders the second half of the month. Is it difficult when someone reaches out the second half of the month wanting to place an order because they need it that next week or whatever the case may be, and me having to say no to them? Yes, I hate that. It's never fun to do that. But do I know that me only being open the first half of the month benefits so many of my customers because my system for organization is better, my processing time is down, my communication time is down, and the list goes on and on and on? Yes, I know that my customers now and in the future are getting so much higher of an experience with me saying no to orders the second half of the month. And again, I could go on and on and on. I will give an example, not in my industry, in a different industry, because I see this a lot with friends. Let's say you're a photographer and you start off your photography business doing everything under the sun. Anything anyone wants, photography-wise, you'll take it. Senior photos, newborns, family photos, engagement sessions, X, Y, and Z, weddings, this and that. Are there a lot of photographers who niche down into weddings and stop offering a lot of the other photography services? Yes. Do they feel bad when they have to say no to someone who reaches out for a small family session? I'm sure they feel bad, but they shouldn't feel guilty because it would not be fair to their wedding clients if they were accepting all of these other bookings that they're not equipped for and they don't have room for in their schedule, and it backs up their other clients' galleries and, XYZ. You can relate this to anything. And I really think that this mindset shift has really, really helped me be able to say no. Do I still have moments of weakness where I say yes to things that I know I shouldn't say yes to, and then I'm kicking myself after? Of course, because I feel like this will always happen, especially when you're such a people pleaser and you just want to make everyone happy. But I have gotten really good at saying, no, I'm sorry, I used to offer that, I no longer offer it anymore, but here are alternatives X, Y, and Z. I always try to give the client or customer reaching out alternatives to, maybe I can't give them exactly what they're looking for now, but I could give them this or that, or I could refer them to this other small business or that other small business who I know offers envelope calligraphy or something that I no longer offer. And I promise you are going to feel so much better mentally, just personally, after making these mindset shifts, and your business is going to grow so much stronger as well. And I know you're probably listening thinking, well, this is a lot easier said than done, but just trust me, it is a process. As I mentioned at the beginning, you're probably not going to be doing this right off the bat when you first start your business, because a lot of times when you first start, you just have to kind of go through that season of yeses until you can start weeding through what works and what doesn't, and what's best for you and what's best for your customers and what's best for your business. Now, today I'm writing down in my figurative detailed diary that even though it seems scary, running a small business is just a journey. Sometimes the things that are going to push us the most forward in our business can seem like the scariest jumps that we have to make, but nothing is permanent. There is plenty of business to go around, and stay strong in what fulfills you, which will in turn build up your business to where you need it to be and create a wonderful customer experience for all of your clients. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode, and I will chat with you all next week for an exciting guest interview. Thank you so much to Zencastr for sponsoring the Detailed Diary podcast. Zencastr has made my podcast production process so much simpler with their all-in-one production suite. This episode was made on Zencastr, and if you like what you hear, be sure to use my promo code to start podcasting for free today. If you go to zencastr.com/pricing and enter promo code Detailed Diary, you'll get 30% off your first 3 months. That's zencastr.com/pricing, promo code Detailed Diary. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Detailed Diary podcast. Make sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Be sure to join our community over on Instagram at Detailed Diary Podcast and introduce yourself. I'm looking forward to meeting you over there, and I will see you next Wednesday for a brand new episode. Until then, have an amazing week.